You are listening to UMY Nights by the Creative Muslim Club, where we discuss faith, creativity and culture and get inspired by the stories of like-minded Muslim creatives. Explore the stories of creative peers and learn how to navigate a world of narratives, counter-narratives and originality with your hosts Mala Mehel and Dina Busba.
Great. Once again, Assalamu alaikum. I already greeted everyone, but I'll do it again. It's such a pleasure for me as the host of this night to host all of you guys. Today we'll be having a conversation with Saberoh, the man behind Saberoh, the comic. This evening is provided to us by the European Solidarity Corps and by Zain Al Amir here in The Hague. That's the place that we got your food from. So if ever you're in The Hague, don't skip out on them because they're part of the community, I guess. Let's start with you, brother.
Yes.
I already, when I introduced you, I said, I'm here with Saberoh, the man behind Saberoh.
Yes.
But once I got to know you, I believe the first time everybody was calling you Saberoh, and I also said Saberoh.
Yeah.
And then you said, that's not right. Can you please explain to us what's the...
Okay, so the account name, the show name is called Saberoh, and it's a yelling word, so Saberoh, you know, I yell it every time. So the reason why is the name Saber consists of the whole thing Saberoh together. If you call somebody in Somali, so you want to call them over, you're gonna add to the masculine form of the name O, and for the feminine form you're gonna add A. So Ahmed, for example, would be Ahmedo. Amina would become Amineh, and that's the reason why. So Saberoh is basically somebody yelling my name, Saberoh. Yeah.
That's great. You know, the funny thing is, so apparently for you guys, it's yelling your name, but with, I'm Kurdish myself, and what we do is we put the O behind every male name and the I behind every female name.
There you go.
But it's not like to yell at someone, but it's like it's the nickname everybody gets.
Okay, it's not yelling, it's more like coming over.
Right.
Yeah. Calling somebody over.
Yeah. And so with us, it's the nickname, so that's why my Instagram is Mala Mehel. Mehel is from Muhammad. If you take the first three letters and you put O behind it, it's Mehel.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's so funny that, you know, it's quite far apart from each other, but same tradition.
Awesome.
Saber, I'm very happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be having about an hour to discuss your work, to discuss also being a Muslim creative, and to discuss also the situation that our community or our ummah finds itself in. That's about to the end of the conversation, I hope.
Check.
To start off, I already told you for the past week I went through Saberoh or Saber studies.
Okay.
I went through everything I could find about you. I called your family members. And I had a conversation with them about who you are and how your upbringing was, and I learned so much about you.
He's about to expose me,
Yeah, I'm about to expose you, and everything is positive. So that's the good part of it. What I found out is that you are the middle child in a very large family.
True.
And I always say, when it comes to us, when it comes to our people, we are most defined by our environment. And I believe that the environment you were in most is with your family. What can you tell us about your family?
Oh, okay. So my family, well, we grew up in Tilburg. Both my parents immigrated from Somalia after the war to the Netherlands. They met actually in the refugee camp when they got here. Then we moved when I was like 2 years old to my hometown, Tilburg. Yeah, casual family, very happy, raised with Islam, work hard, study hard, play hard. So that was the life. Yeah.
Also, from what I understood is that you have a very supportive family, right?
Alhamdulillah, I have. Yeah.
And especially when it comes to being a creative.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that many creatives in our community are familiar with. At least that's what I hear often. But how was it? How is it to have a family that's driving you through being a creative?
So I think the support, it came through like a lot of communication, I'd say. So I would explain to them what it is, what I'm doing. Obviously, like starting out, it's like, yo, I have to judge you. It's like, stop playing games. Like they thought I was just like playing video games in my room all day, but not like working on something. But then I showed them what it is. Even like my parents, my mom, for example, she grew up watching cartoons like I did. So she understands like what it is. My dad as well, he kind of like had to come around. But
So what kind of cartoons did your mom watch? I'm very curious.
do you know Captain Magic?
No, please explain.
Okay,
Yeah.
so who knows Captain Magic here? Okay, there's a few people that know. So it's like a football show. So in the Netherlands we had Inazuma 11.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but in Arabic.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what she liked.
That's what she liked.
Is your mom a football player or?
No, she's not a football player.
It could be, right?
No. But she enjoyed shows just like that. I think she watched like Power Rangers growing up, like Captain Magic, a bunch of like shows that were Tom and Jerry. She knows Tom and Jerry to the back of their hand. Yeah.
That's nice, man. It sounds fun. You know, that sounds like a cool mom to have.
She is.
I was only judged when I was watching television all day by my mom. She didn't understand the feeling that I had with animation. Also, this is something I found very interesting, is that from what I understood by talking to your sister, is that you started drawing and making animation on the computer.
Yeah.
When you were how old?
I was like 17, 18-ish.
Okay, yeah. But she also told me that you made stick figures when you were 11, 10, even when you were that little.
That was like the early days. ones. Yeah.
But that's interesting, right? Because when I was 10 or 11, I wouldn't know how to do that on the computer, but you found out yourself?
Yeah, so there was like this big, like, I don't know if you guys remember, there were like websites in the Netherlands that had like a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Do you remember like Spelen.nl?
Yeah, definitely.
You remember? I was on that like game the whole day. But there is like a specific program in it that was like Flash Player. I don't know if you remember, you had to use that on your website. But Flash Player is from a program called, back then it was called Macromedia Flash. Funny enough, it's the same program I use to this day.
Oh.
It just it's been bought by Adobe, and now it's called Adobe Animate. But yeah, back then, I remember when I was like 10, 12, I was just trying to like make a game, and I could do it with stick figures, but I could also make like fight animations with stick figures.
Yeah.
And that's what I did when I was like 11, 12.
Yeah.
And then I found out about video games. And then, my life was just FIFA and Call of Duty for a lot of years. Yeah.
Also sports?
Yeah. I'm playing a lot of sports, yeah.
But so so can you maybe explain to us what the role of your father was in all of this?
Whoa, big question.
Yeah. Because he had a specific role, right?
Yeah, so my dad is like motivation to the max. Like if you tell him you did something amazing, it's Allahu Akbar, mashallah. What's next? it's always like that. So yeah, he's always grateful and happy, but also expecting what can you do more. Yeah, those two things.
Yeah. And also from what I understand is that you were really inspired by your father as well, right? Because he was quite like in those days, he was already interested in computers.
Yeah.
He brought home the parts, he worked with them and...
Yeah. So my dad was like, he used to like fix stuff. Like he can fix like anything electronic wise, and he likes opening stuff and just working with it. And yeah, he used to like he was really into computers, like always like showing me stuff, what you could do with computers. And yeah, I kind of also was like grown attached to the computer because of him, probably, because he always knew what to do with it. Yeah.
It's very nice. And also he was very supportive of you being an animator. Yeah,
he is, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, mashallah.
Yeah.
Because so can you maybe take us, like, what does the evening at the Aidarus look like? So because I understand that you guys watch your clips with the family as well.
Okay, this is more of like family get-togethers mostly.
Yeah.
But my dad watches my stuff. Yeah, he watches on his phone. I mean, if I have a new video out and everybody is at home, I'll come downstairs like, yalla, everybody, sit down, let's watch something. And I show them. That's fun to do.
Come on, man, that's great.
It's great. Yeah. It is great. At first, I was like awkward by it. Yani, for a long time, I didn't tell anybody like what I was doing. Even like my family, they knew a little bit, but I wasn't like fully out with it. And it was like awkward at first, like show other people my work, but now I'm like very like happy about it. I'm even more excited to even show people or even talk about what I do. Yeah.
So do we have creatives in like with us today as well? Show of hands. Yeah. So is this something that we are all, I'm guessing this is something that we are all familiar with, right? Being awkward with your work at first and then growing comfortable with it. Is there anyone that would maybe like to share their story as well on this subject?
In school, I was actually painting, acrylic painting. In this school, we have a class that I chose elective as an elective. And I was painting the whole year. I learned a lot of stuff, but I never showed my family. That's why I like got familiar with it. And then we have we just at the end of the year we did like a event with all the parents and everyone showed their things. So everyone had an art class. Mine was painting. Some people were like, I don't know, playing piano, everything. And then my parents came and they were like looking at art and they were like, oh, this art is like beautiful. Like, who is this?
Oh, nice.
And then my teacher was like, it's your daughter. And I'm like, what? Like, how? It was like, she never showed us to this. Like, we never saw this. And that's when I was like, oh, I didn't show them. Like, I felt a little bit, I don't know, awkward to show them.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's something very familiar, right? Because I also saw some other hands as well. You can keep it, and once there's a next question, we'll get back to it as well. Also, Saberoh, what I really love about your work is your use of Muslim heritage and especially Somali culture. There are many characters in your work that make very plain references. How did that develop? When did you become comfortable with using your own culture?
Wow, that's also a very great question. I think in the beginning of like YouTube in general, it's actually like almost better if you're not tied to anything. So imagine if my character was like a white blob. Even SpongeBob, for example. SpongeBob is not white or black or Asian. Like it's just a random character. Everybody can relate to it, right? Yeah. That's why we all loved it, like growing up. But in the same line, it's also important to see characters that kind of look like you. And I think with my work, it just started. I just started getting more comfortable with like showing myself from my character. Like in the beginning, it was just like a black and white thing. Then I added my skin color to it. Then I started talking about that I'm Somali, Muslim, and like it kept going, and now it's like a full, almost like replicate of my life. And I kind of tried to like showcase what it would look like if a Somali Muslim family had like cartoon. That's kind of like what my work has become now.
Yeah. And animation is, I don't think it's an art form that's discussed that often. Yeah. But it has many different styles. Yeah. And what I find interesting about your works, you're using all of those styles at the same time. Within even like shorts of 30 seconds, you'll be able to see 5 or 6 different styles. Please take us through the process.
So I think it's also because my own art style hasn't really been defined yet. I mean, I have my character and like what it looks like, and I'm pretty sure like if you watch any of my stuff, you can recognize, okay, he's the one that made this. But I still want to play with like other art styles, especially, anime comes in like a lot of forms, which I'm very inspired by. I even did like a live action short one time with like a real person talking and my character interacting with each other. So I'm still kind of like mixing mediums and see what comes out. I'm even gonna like hopefully next year like buy 2 puppets of like my uncle and myself and like start doing the ventriloquist thing.
The puppet.
Yeah, the puppet thing. Yeah. I want to try that as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you say my style isn't well defined yet.
Yeah, it's always evolving, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I look at your work, like early work, it does look different from what it is at the moment.
Yeah.
What do you hope your style will become? Like, what's the aim? You must have a vision, right?
Yeah. So, inshallah, next year it's going to be fully focused on writing a whole show and 1 episode. And the idea is to like make 1 pilot episode of like 10 to 20 minutes. and then hopefully start shopping that around to like either maybe a producer that could like turn this into a whole show. This could go really big, like a Netflix, Disney type of thing, but it could also go like Kickstarter within my own community, or like even like Dutch grants that are out for projects like this.
Right, right. So you really want to make your own animation
That's the
series,
goal.
right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
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 Are you already working on it at the moment?
I have like a rough idea of like what the story is gonna look like. I still need to like properly write it all out, and so yeah, that's the level I am right now.
Yeah, I understand. I think when it comes to making these kind of things, something that's often disregarded,
Yeah.
I guess, when we talk about creative and creativeness, is the extent to which you need other people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So can you take us through your team? Who are the people you're working with, and what else would you, maybe there's someone watching, or maybe there's someone here that would really like to help, so.
I got you. So I guess the main team that I have right now is mostly myself. So I do like all of the voicing and writing, animation, all that. But I do invite people over to like voice characters with me. I have one person that like helps me out a lot. Her name is Iman. She's a voice actor, poet.
She's the female voice,
She's the
right?
female. Yeah, she plays like the girl character with the yellow hijab.
Yeah.
She's very talented, Lawan Barak, and she helps me with like voicing that character. But she also is able to write. For example, the Spy Auntie video, we made that one together, and she wrote along with me. And it's a good. Because I'm very comfortable writing like guy characters, but it's also good to have like if a girl that wears the hijab also writes that character,
Right.
it just works a lot better.
Yeah. So she writes her own characters within the story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll ask her like, how would you say this, or like what would you typically say?
Yeah.
Like she plays herself kind of in that character, and that means like that it comes out a lot more natural. Yeah.
Is the same applicable to you? Do you play yourself?
Yeah.
As Saberoh?
I would say like it is myself, but it's probably like a bit more of a, hyperactive type of character. It's not. He's pretty chill most of the time. Like I try to like bring that back, because in reality I am a pretty chill character.
Yeah.
But I do love it when like stuff happens and he needs to scream and he needs to be angry. That can still come out of me as well.
Yeah. I haven't seen you scream yet.
No,
in real life.
just make me angry. I'll start screaming. Yeah, there you go.
So do you also get yellow hair and blue eyes? When it
Yeah, I'll
happens?
turn Super Saiyan right now. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I can imagine that it's a lot of work, right? Doing all of this, and I know that at the same time, you are as an artist not only defined by the animations you make, but you also do other work. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So in my day-to-day, I work at an ad agency, and we do basically content for brands. You just think of like your average content that you see when you're like scrolling around on Instagram or on TikTok. And my goal is to not annoy you so much that you want to scroll right away, but maybe watch whatever the brand has to say, and with probably like a product link or an announcement or something of that sort. Yeah.
Do you have any passion in that work?
Ooh, good question. So I love making stuff in general. But a lot of it is like very capitalistic, right? So it's either like selling something or, announcing something, a new sale for the store for the 3rd time this year. Like it's not that different.
Yeah.
And it's not something that makes me like super happy, but it pays the bills, and it is a way to like make money creatively as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's always a difficult balance to have, right? To either live off your own passion project, or at the same time having to work a non-passion project.
Yeah.
How do you manage those things?
It's very hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like right now, especially this month, it's so busy. Like it feels like I have 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Like I do the 9 to 5, and then I'm still at my desk from 5 to 9. It's tiring, but there are ways to like balance it, which I should start doing, like maybe like hiring people to work with me, or maybe take on less hours on this project or that project, so it kind of like evens out better. But yeah, working the whole day is not good. Yeah.
Also, it's something that you say within, you know, you said it very, very shortly, but often it has a capitalistic aim, right?
Yeah.
Having to work for these,
Yeah.
you know, the non-passion projects are always capitalistic because, you know, you need to eat. So that's not capitalistic in itself, but having the money to eat is. So what's your, so when you look at art, so I know that there are a few different ways of interpreting your responsibility as an artist, right? Some people believe that if as an artist you're not able to make a living out of your work, then you're not there yet. Other people say it's not about making a living, it's about making the art. So where are you in this on
divide? That skill, I'm very much on the not selling out, so making sure the art looks you know, is presented well. Like it's very easy to like take the low blows, and even like as a Somali make very like imagine I made like very stereotypical jokes.
Right.
I mean we all kind of know the stereotypes that are around Somalis, but those are things that I never like want to do anything with and like stay away from.
Yeah.
To name one, for example, pirates and like stuff like that. I'll never make something like that. Even growing up, the only Somali animation thing we had was that one pirate episode on South Park. I see this guy laughing. It's not good. But it's a very like terrible representation, right?
Yeah.
So my goal is to like never make something like that. Even like when I'm working together with a girl character that wears hijab, not like on the Netflix shows. 5 episodes later, she takes it off. Like kind of like have it all be very respective of my culture.
So do you feel that, because you are someone that's in close proximity to big brands, right? So do you feel that it is something that's subconsciously expected of a Somali maker as yourself, or as a Muslim maker yourself?
No, alhamdulillah, I feel like the world has come a long way from you know, engaging in this stereotypical stuff. If anything, like if a person now makes stereotypical jokes, it gets clowned on rather than celebrated. I will say that there is still like a divide of not everybody is on that page yet, but it is kind of understood amongst people that have some mental capacity that you shouldn't make fun of your own work. I mean, it's like there is like in like comedy you see this a lot. Like people make they talk about like, I'd rather make the joke myself than let somebody else make the joke for it. Which in of its right, there is like there's space for it, I believe. But
it is a strategy.
And there is space for it to a degree, but it's very easy to go from that to like straight up I don't know, like to give like a terrible example, a black person making like a fried chicken and watermelon jokes, like something like that. Back in the day, it was like very like normal to do stuff like that, and a lot of people rose on social media doing work like that. But now if you do something like that, it's like what are you doing? Not good at all. Stop that.
But at the same time, I mean, there are so many people with migratory backgrounds or ex-Muslims, to put it that way, that see a lot of success not through their craft but through the story that they're spinning, right? So I do think that I agree with you. I think on one hand, when it comes to the media that we have that's in our own hands, such as YouTube or Instagram, and what I mean with in our own hands, because we have all the algorithms that are working against us at the moment. I know about this as well. But at the same time, you are the one that's making your own story, and we are the ones that are watching it, right? So it's a very direct way of communication, I guess.
True.
But when it comes to indirect, or when it comes to having brands or like networks in between it, then the incentive sometimes changes. So I guess that's why I asked the question. But I'm happy to hear that you feel at least free. Even in my day-to-day work, I always make sure that like there is in the stuff that I put out, no like stereotypical stuff.
if I can get like if I have to work with actors, cast like diverse people wherever I can, and it's not just the same type of person 10 times over. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe this is a good moment to also, you know, this is, I think, a dilemma that all of us recognize, everybody's familiar with. Does anyone have a question, or anyone has something that they want to bring into the fold or into the discussion? All the way at the back.
I was interested in the first part. You were saying that you were first very on yourself, or not exposing really who the creative was behind what you were making, and then now you're at the stage where it's totally different. But I was curious, like, how did that go? Because you told us that it happened, but I didn't understand yet how did it happen and what helped you in coming more, being more yourself and open about who you are and what your identity is.
First of all, I got older. I'm 25 now, frontal lobe fully developed. So they say like in your 20s, you just go back to not being embarrassed about liking what you like when you were like 12, 13. And I think that's very like a real statement. Just even when you grow up, you kind of like feel this pressure of like, okay, I'm an adult now. Now I'm gonna start getting like a nice job and I'm gonna make my parents proud and da 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 da. But you can still make like funny cartoons if you wanted to, or do any type of like other creative stuff. It's just that I think through like getting older and being just like getting more comfortable with myself, getting more confident with myself, I feel very like open to like share the stuff that I work for, even like doing something like this, like talking amongst the people. I think genuinely, as I got more comfortable with myself, I felt more comfortable showing my work and just kind of thriving it. Now I'm proud of it. Yes, I got 700K followers. Okay, let me flex. Why not? I worked hard for it. Alhamdulillah. So yeah,
Mashallah.
yeah.
Other questions? I see a hand there. Yes.
Yeah, this is great. When I first met you, I didn't imagine that you got all this going on. I really salute you, mashallah, especially from the background where you come from. Who are you? Like, basically, what I'm looking for is like you eventually gonna be influencing young audience, right? And do you have like a plan to what direction you're looking to influence? And also, um, yeah, I also had another question where it's like, what type of animation like are you eventually gonna reference? What are you gonna bring in community into your animation, or like are you looking to bring your family into the like obviously you're looking to grow your characters.
Great, great questions. I think to sum it up, the direction I want to go with my work is it's going to become more Somali and Somali, and it's also going to become more focused towards Islam as well. Even right now, like in my work, there are like hints of just the deen in there in general, either through like imagery like a girl wearing hijab, or talking about Ramadan, or like anything of that sort. My videos help a lot as well with people just talking to each other and connecting. I've had people like tell me, oh, I've shared my video with my mom, she really likes it, or you have like a person that has like a Somali friend and they share it with them. So it starts like conversation in that. I even had like a teacher message me like, hey, your videos helped me connect with my Somali students, that it gave us something like talk about. And it just shows like a different way people can get like introduced to the Somali culture. And it's like, oh, okay, what do I know about Somalia? Oh, I know that one guy that makes the funny animations. I know it's like a country in East Africa. Like I kind of wanted to like be in that headspace when they think about my work. And inshallah, like as I grow older and we all get closer to the deen, I kind of want to like create maybe programs that help just like with the basics, think of like when you went to Tuksi school or like mosque school, the images that you had on the screen of like these are like the 5 pillars of Islam, like something like that, but like in animation format, or other types of like morals that I can teach through it. I think the best morals that we can teach are the one from our deen. So yeah, I think that's the direction I kind of want to go towards. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Spot on.
Thank you.
I think that brings us to our third theme as well,
Yeah.
which is Islam and narrative. We are at the Creative Muslim Club, so this is something that we are occupied with on a daily basis. Also something that you and I have discussed a few times already. We're making plans at the moment to think about, Ramadan is coming, Eid is coming, so it's something that we need to work with, and also maybe help certain brands to work with it as well. And this is actually something that we came up with together with Umaima Al-Khubzuri and Dina Buzba. You know, as creatives, when we talk about our religion, our deen, we are often challenged both as an individual within ourselves. What story am I going to tell? I do not want to make any mistakes when it comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or to the hadiths, or this is something very particular, right? So that's the first step. The second is when it comes to our community, we are quite diverse. Everybody has their own opinions, even when it comes to animation or drawing. And I'm not even talking about film or photography. People have opinions about that, about what's haram, what's halal, and these kind of things. So that's the second stage of challenges that you're faced with. And then the third stage is that, often we are challenged by the outer world, about how often do we, as the Creative Muslim Club, and I'm sure you're familiar with this as well, have conversations with brands or with, big institutions that want to work with us. And then I think the first, maybe the second question will be about, are you willing to have an evening on queer Muslims, or are you willing to have an evening on women rights, right? So that's the pressure that we're facing from the outside due to stereotypical ways that we are being viewed. And you were just explaining that in the future you want to go into more deen-oriented work. So let's start with the first one, like individually. How do you balance those things out?
So I always try to, like, if I include something Islamically, to like not directly, I do involve Islam in my work, but it's not like people are coming to my videos to learn about Islamic fiqh, for example, right? But by keeping it a bit more global for now, as I wouldn't say I am the proper person to give, actual teachings right now of like higher level on Islam. I can keep the basics like fasting or prayer, but the question of like, how do I balance it? I'd say right now I kind of share with my friends and family first. Like my parents, for example, are like a good, they can like judge it, like, okay, maybe make something along this, or maybe use that word, maybe don't use that word. So right now I kind of like keep it around my community and to check me before I post something.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are often surrounded by people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
I'm not surrounded by people that that are more that have different opinions than I do. So at the same time, so that's also a challenge, right? So you will know what your parents think about it, or what your friends think about it, but you have so many followers, you have so many people that have an opinion on it as well.
That's true. I will say though, alhamdulillah, because my work, from like what it looks like, it looks like a children's cartoon. Even though like it gets enjoyed by people, I know that like a lot of Muslim creatives get like a lot of flack from one way or another, just by like publicly showing yourself as a person that practices Islam, that there's somebody that has an issue with it. Yani, even if it's not even a Muslim or is a Muslim, somebody will always have an issue with it. Hate comments, I mean, everybody gets them. If I see them, if there's like some constructive in them, or people message me directly like, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, I can take note from it. But alhamdulillah, till now, I haven't gotten like anything crazy. I felt like I've gotten more support, which I'm very glad for, alhamdulillah, and I hope it continues along that way. I think it's also because I am like trying to like keep this as like clean as possible. Yeah.
At the same time, so this is let me rephrase. Let me see how I can do this. So as the Creative Muslim Club, we often have these discussions internally, right?
Yeah.
There are those subjects within our community, within our religion, that are very clear cut, that are very simple, and like everybody knows that they're going to fast on Ramadan. So there's no discussion on that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are those subjects that are that lead to far more friction within our community. Yeah. And you know, for me personally, I do believe that as a community, as an ummah, we need to work those things out as well. We need to be able to have a discussion on those as well. Not that I'm saying that you should as well, but I'm just trying to say that you know, from my own experience, at some point, you get to those subjects.
Yeah, you do.
And how do you work with that?
I mean, I've gone like situations before where I even was like asked like this directly, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And I've always been unapologetic about it. Like, my deen says this, that's it. I mean, lakum dinukum waliya din. It's my religion, right? And for you, you have your religion. And I kind of like kept that as like my you know, goalpost. If somebody like would remove me from an opportunity because of that, then that's just according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. I can't like change it. I think that's more of a protection than me than that I'm losing something. So yeah, that's kind of like how I've always approached it. Yeah.
So I don't sense any fear.
No. Allah will provide, inshallah. So if I lose something because of that, then so be it. Yeah.
Mashallah. You know, the source of being unapologetic is the fact that you are certain of the fact that you will have to stand in judgment in front of Allah, and not stand in judgment in front of anyone else. And if that's something that you're certain about, if that's something that you feel confident about, then there is no use in being apologetic to anyone else. And there is no greater shame than the shame that you feel towards your Maker. So once you're able to see that, once you're able to work with that, going through the shame of your community, of your parents, of your husband or wife is far less. It's, you know, it doesn't feel as heavy. I think that's how I try to manage this. When I hear some of that in your answer as well, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
You know, you're familiar with our mission at the Creative Muslim Club. We want to reclaim the narrative on Muslims, specifically Muslim makers, our stories. So what's your point of view when it comes to that? You already alluded to some of it, but
yeah, I think we should have more like Muslim creatives in general. Too often, like, our stories get told for us. It's very strange to see, and somehow they still never get it to the right mark. Even something as like simple, you see a character praying on a show, it looks so different. It's like, did you watch the YouTube video like 2 seconds? Like, give it a good try. Yeah. So yeah, we need to take control in that, and I think it's like media has become such a like big form of communication. It's through like cartoons that like our kids grow up and like learn about the world. It's through film, through like art, through all these mediums. If we're not there in those spaces, like teaching our kids or like our generation in formats and like communication that's like easy to understand and digest, then we're just losing. We're playing like a losing game. And we'll have to like tackle these topics when people have become, you know, raised by like other ideologies or like other systems, which is a shame. There's no need to. There are enough talented people here. So if any of you like wants to do something in like art or creative stuff, very much in the same line as the Creative Muslim Club, get to it.
Yeah. And stick to it as well.
Yeah.
Right? So, too often, as Muslim creators, you are posed with the question, I can make a lot of money by doing X, but X is maybe not looked on favorably by our religion or by myself.
If it's haram, I'm not doing it. Like, keep it clear cut. Let me think if I have examples of that. These are very strange ones. I don't even want to say it out loud. But it's like...
Maybe it's useful to hear it.
Oh, like not safe for work stuff, for example. I don't want to do that. Like it's completely against my religion. So when I get an email like that saying, "Did you do your research?" Like, Yani, who are you emailing to? I'm not making this. So if I get something like that, if it says 10K or 20K, I'm still not doing it. So if it's haram, I'm not doing it. Like that's a clear-cut answer. Yeah.
I also have conversations with some creatives, Muslim creatives, that say, but it's part of the game.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. No, it shouldn't be. No.
All right. Yeah. I won't push it because I don't agree with the view either. But on the other hand, when it comes to having understanding or empathy, I can empathize with the feeling of not having, like believing the fact that once you have X amount of money, you'll be free enough to do your own work. I can empathize with the feeling, with the strategy.
I understand. Let me rephrase it, because there are definitely people that do a certain type of work, even if it's like not directly haram, but there's like a part of it, like somewhere in there. We cannot like name examples. There are like loads of them. Even though your intention is not to like commit haram, somehow, some way, you have 10 tasks at your job, and one of them is actually haram or involves riba or like something like that. It's like better to leave it, but you're in that situation. You're stuck. You have family to provide for. X, Y, and Z. It's something that you balance. The easy answer from an outsider looking in, it's like, and it's haram, just leave it. But I fully understand as well, when you're inside of it, it's hard to balance it. To those people, I would say, like, keep looking if you can. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. Yeah.
Also, I think it's a question of representation, having the right examples. So too often these individuals that feel that they are obliged or that it's part of the game, they do not move with the people that look like them, to put it simply, or that have the same outlook on the religion. Often they are in these environments and they are the only ones or the only Muslims, or I'm not trying to make any excuses because I don't agree with it, but at the same time I can empathize with the struggles that they're going through. And I think that brings us to our final. First I wanted to show this one because watching a whole week of Saber's videos is great, but then you find one and you just crack up.
So what do you guys do for work?
Assalamu alaikum everybody, I'm an entrepreneur, I make TikToks and I dabble in fashion.
It's giving broke.
Nah, yeah.
I'm a real estate investor.
Okay, Slay, after me.
I purchase land and property.
How long have you been doing it for?
For over 30 years.
So how many houses do you own?
I'm about halfway done with my first one. I am a
Bro, that's great.
Thank you.
And I think everything that we just spoke about is in the movie as well. In this short clip as well. I had to show that one. So, I think it's such a smart use of the pop the balloon trend.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
But I actually wanted to go into being unapologetic. I think we have about 10-15 minutes left. We've gone through so much. but at the same time, one of the themes of this evening is being unapologetic, and part of that is resistance.
Yeah.
You and I, we spoke about this, when I asked you to be part of this evening. And one of the first things that you said to me is, I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about resistance. You were humble about it, but at the same time, you're very conscious about the work that you've made.
Yeah.
But I thought, and I still think, it's quite important to also speak to you and to speak to individuals that feel that they are not involved in the resistance. And when I talk about resistance, of course, at this point, this stage in our history as Muslims, it's about Gaza, it's about Lebanon, let's not forget Sudan, all these places where we're being slaughtered, taken down, and erased, it quite plainly put. Because I know it's something that you are occupied with every day.
Yeah.
And you are occupied with when I spoke to you about it, and you were quite passionate about it as well. So, because you do make references to it, right?
Yeah. In the form that I took on was because of the following that I had. It was like a more easy approach, I will admit. I've been doing the story reshares, the reposting, and I did include it in some of my content. But every single time I even alluded to it, even if I put a watermelon emoji in an acid, the video would tank. So it's I don't post that often, maybe once monthly, or hopefully I could do more. But it's these platforms have so restricted these forms of media. There's not enough excuses to tell, because we all have not done enough of our work that we can do, because it's still going on. So including me, I want to strive to be better and do more if I can. This is also invitation to everybody in the room. If you have any ideas or want to work with me towards it, please reach out to me. I'd be interested to help. Or the least thing I could do is reshare something that you do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when it comes to motivation, and when it comes to seeing your videos tank, because we had the same at Creative Muslim Club at our account, even if 3 posts or 3 stories are about Gaza, then the ones afterwards are still very down in algorithm. To what extent is that a problem?
It's a big problem. It kills your channel almost. It's I had an example. So whenever I post, I can get confidently 50K views in a day. If the video was good, I can get there. I had one post not even that long ago. It was a kind of a comedy slideshow, and one of the slides, it had a reference to and you still haven't given enough charity this year. That was the line. And then I put Congo emoji, watermelon emoji, Sudan emoji, just to have those emojis in there, kind of reference it to people. I wake up the next day, that video, that slideshow, it got 1.5K views on my channel that has 700K followers. It's and not even that. The second I posted it, I got a community guidelines strike from using emojis. From using emojis. It's crazy, right? So these platforms, they've restricted it so much. During the beginning of, after October 7th, the social media was a very good way to get people,
mobilized.
Organized and start movements. Charities, encampments, everything was happening. But now it feels social media has been really taking a hit, and now I'd say I'm still glad there's still stuff coming out. I don't know if you guys have seen, even if you scroll on TikTok, you'll see somebody saying, if you scroll right now, I won't forgive you. I'm afraid most of those are fake. which is very like heartbreaking to hear, right? So people are even like capitalizing off Gaza right now. It's very like it's a very strange situation with social media right now, and it's hard to like. I think these platforms don't even know how to differentiate what is real, what is not real. Yeah, I don't think we can count too much on social media, but we don't have anything else, so we still need to find like ways to bring the message out.
Yeah.
I'm glad like a lot of like real life stuff is happening too. A lot of communities are like mobilizing in real life. I remembered even like the Tilburg University encampments, and if there were encampments here and then in the Hague,
definitely. Yeah.
there were like stuff like that. It's glad to see that there's still like people doing the work in real life as well. Yeah.
I agree with you, and I'm also glad about it as well. But at the same time, I'm quite frustrated with the fact that our means to mobilize bigger numbers, or even just to focalize our wishes or our beliefs, are in the hands of actors that do not have our best interest at heart.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to Meta, I'm not going to mince any words. It's we know in whose hands it is, to put it that way. And when it comes to TikTok, it should be different, right? Because it's not, it's not in America, it's not in the States, so it should be different. But at the same time, it's still made difficult there as well. And also, I'm quite curious to the audience and to everybody present here, is a year has passed and some things have changed, some things haven't, but we haven't been able to solve this problem in particular.
Yeah.
If we make videos about how nice our shoes are, we are successful. And if we make videos about what our heart cries about, then we are unsuccessful to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Unsuccessful in the eyes of social media and of views.
Yeah.
I'm not in the eyes of our religion or what we spoke about earlier. But it is really something that we are really looking to change. But I think we haven't found a solution yet. I don't know is there anyone here, and I know a few of you guys in the crowd, and I know some of you are great organizers of our community. Anyone that has any feelings or anything they would like to share on this topic? No?
I would. Yes. Bismillah. Well, when it comes to resistance, and also in the light of the graph that you showed, or like, with the circles, individual, and then the Ummah, and then the outer world. The Ummah, of course, is made out of individuals. And I believe that we all should start with ourselves. Like, for example, the Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, whoever sees evil, let him change it with his hand. If he can't do so, with his tongue. And if he can't do so, with his heart. And that's, the weakest form of faith, adaf al-iman. So I really would like everyone to keep, the lowest of iman, the weakest of iman, at least that, to, discourage all the evil in the world, at least with your heart. Make dua, and then if you can, with your tongue, of course, and with your hand. And of course, we're not all in the rooms where decisions are made, and that means that even on a smaller scale, you should do what you can. And individually, even if you aren't in a community, or even let's say if you're not even like in any civilized place, you can still, the weakest form of iman, like Allah iman, you can still practice that, because it's just between you and Allah. It's just about making dua. You don't need anyone for that. You only need your heart for that. You don't even need your tongue for that. Do that. And inshallah, from that, you know, bigger things will happen.
I mean,
So I would give that as a small takeaway. So I don't forget that. Have tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because everything moves with His permission. Even like the leaves falling is because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what makes you think that He doesn't see our suffering right now? What makes you think that He can't change what's happening right now? But we should reach out to Him by, you know, the weakest of iman, adaf al-iman. So don't forget that, please. Barakallahu fikum.
I mean, Jazakallah khair, brother.
Thank you, brother. Brother, you also want to say something? I'm so happy.
It's really hard to add on what Ahmed said, because he kind of already took all the words out of all our mouths. So I would like to add to that, maybe to the creatives and the artists.
Because you're a creative yourself as well,
so exactly. Alhamdulillah. Be unapologetic, and I would say don't feel like an imposter. Like we all feel so alone, but also together. Like we have a community, but you still feel so, like you said, we're ummah, but full of individuals. And I mean, perspective is the most important thing. I think put everything in perspective and it will make sense. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيرجع غريبا فطوبى للغرباء. So the Islam started as a strange thing and it will return to be a strange thing. So glad be the tidings to the stranger. So we are meant to be strangers in this world.
Yeah.
So all we have is ourselves. Like you said, you are yourself and our community and taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think that's the most important thing. So be unapologetic and just let your voice be heard.
thank you. That was beautiful, both of you. Thank you very much. So I think we're going to wrap up as well. Maybe we can. I'm not even going to end on a positive note. Not because I don't feel positive, because I've felt so much positivity from this conversation. But I think it's also important to end with the note that is realistic. You know, and this is the reality that we're living in at the moment. I can't wait to see more of your work based on Islam, based on you know, everything, all those topics that we talked about, based on resistance, being unapologetic. Thankfully, you have been an inspiration as an unapologetic creative already. To me personally, also in this conversation, I really saw that. What if you would have one dream or one thing as a creative that you would like to see change within the creative ummah, you know, Muslims that are creative? What would your wish, what would your dua be for us as creative Muslims?
I'd say that I would love for our ummah to feel comfortable and being comfortable in sharing their artwork unapologetically to the whole world. And in the same line, if that person decides to share something, they get welcomed to the best degree possible, even if they make a mistake. That would be my dua for them.
That would be my dua as well.
Ameen.
It's great. Ameen. Thank you very much, Saberoh, for the time. Thank you all for your time. We're going to end the recording, and then I have one final question for you guys. I would like to invite you guys. We still have a lot of food. We still have a lot of drinks. You do not have to leave right away. Please feel free, feel like you're at home. That would really please me. And I hope to see you guys the next time around, because we'll be doing this 4 or 5 more times within the coming 4 or 5 months, or even longer than that, until April, I believe, or May. We'll have more great creatives that can come by and inspire us, and that's it. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.